All right. Great morning, superstars. How is everyone out there this morning? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Social Media Saturdays. And if you are out there and you can see me, you can hear me, do me a favor, drop me a link into the comment section and let me know, Taria, I can see you, Taria, I can hear you, and we are going to get this party started today. And when I tell you, I am so excited, I could barely contain my excitement for two reasons. First of all, so we have an exciting announcement to make. And then we're going to have like what I consider a really great discussion today on the power of collaborations. And so we're going to unpack, you know, some of the awesome things that has happened in 2020. And I know many of you who are watching the show, you follow the show, you hear me talk about it all the time. One of the things that I prayed for in 2020 in my business was to have a greater spirit of collaboration and then find out what it takes to really lock arms with the right individuals so we could serve more. So we are going to talk a little bit about that today. And so if you are out there, just go ahead and let me know, Taria, I'm out there. I could see you, I could hear you, and then we are going to get ready to rock and roll. And I see that we have Lil Dreddy7 out there joining us from Periscope. So thank you so much for jumping in and tuning in and joining us this morning. So before we get into our discussion, the first thing I want to ask is, how was everyone's holiday? Okay, so how did you guys enjoy a holiday? Did you do anything special? And if you did, just go ahead and just drop us a comment and just let us know, what you were most grateful for over the past couple of days. And then also, one of the things that I really would like to know is where you are tuning in from. And I see that Diane is out there this morning. Great morning, Diane. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Just go ahead and drop us in the comment section and let us know where you are watching from, what city and state you are watching from. And then also, as you do that, put in the comment section who you serve and how you serve in your business. So that's one of the things, Suzanne, that I love to do here on Social Media Saturdays. I just love to, ask my superstars how they serve and who they serve and how they serve in their business. Because one of the things that happens here on Social Media Saturdays is the virtual networking, and you just never know who you could connect with. And I think that that's so perfect for the topic that we are having today, right? Is how the power of collaborations, how to use affiliates, ventures, and partnerships to serve more. So if you're out there, let us know where you're watching from, and then also put who you serve and how you serve in your business. Okay. And so while we wait for those responses to come in, if you are wondering who the beautiful lady is sitting on I hope it's my right side, I think.
I can't tell you. I'm as confused as you are. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. So if you have not met her, this is Suzan Hart, Mindset Mastery Mentor, and she is my Mindset Mastery Mentor. And I'm just saying, we have had an amazing year, and we just cannot wait, to have this conversation this morning. And I see that Shakisha Heilig is out there this morning. So great morning, Shakisha. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. She's tuning in all the way from Orlando, Florida. So Shakisha, do me a favor. Make sure you put in the comment section who you serve and how you serve in your business as well. And I see that Forrest is out there this morning. Great morning, Forrest. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining. And he is watching all the way from New Orleans, Louisiana. So thank you so much for that. And then Forrest, we had an amazing conversation actually this week, Forrest and I. So Forrest, make sure that you put in the comment section who you serve and how you serve in your business. And I see that, Shakisha, I'm getting a little feedback. I'm not sure where the feedback is coming from. Bear with me just one moment. Let me just make sure. Okay, I hope it's gone away. Okay, I got it. I think I got it. I think I had another window.
Yes, I have someone saying, I think I'm not sure who Facebook user is, but I am fine. And if you could put your name in the comments, your comments, I know who you are, but I am fine and wonderful to see you.
That is Forrest Lamb. And I
Hey,
don't know if
Forrest, how
you've
are
had the
you?
opportunity to meet Forrest. Well, I met Forrest at PNC, so he's a Power Network conference regular attendee. So that's where I had the opportunity to meet Forrest. And like I said, we had such an amazing conversation this week. So I would love to thank Forrest for all of the encouraging words that he shared on our call. And I see that Shakisha is out here. She says, I serve married couples that are struggling to keep their vows, specifically in the area of communication, finances, and intimacy. So thank you
Wow.
so much, Shakisha, for putting that into the comment section. Okay. All right. And so we are just going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I have a special announcement that I am going to share a little bit later in the broadcast. So make sure that you stay with us until the end, okay? But I'm going to start off, Suzanne, because I asked this question last week on the broadcast. So this is a question that I am posing, for all of my superstars as we get ready to move into the last month of the year.
Hmm.
Can you imagine? Like, wow, we are knocking on the door of December, right? And one of the things that people talk about around this time of the year, fourth quarter, the conversation always centers around your goals. Okay, so what goals are you setting for yourself for 2021? And then I started to think about it. And then the thing that I thought about was, wow, really, it's great to set goals, and we should all have goals. But the question is, what skills do you need to develop in order to go after your goals? Okay, so that's the question that I posed, to myself, and I started to, kind of meditate on that, to say like, okay, what is it that I am going to, work on developing in 2021 that would pull me further and faster towards my goals. And as I thought about that, one of the skills that I am committed to work and get better on in 2021 is the power of collaboration. Right. And this has actually been on my heart, like for the whole of 2020. How do we collaborate more? How do we serve more? And like I usually say, how do we lock arms, okay,
Hmm.
together, to really show up as powerful as we need to in our business. And so if you are out there and, you've heard me ask the question, just go ahead and drop it in the comment section and just let me know what skill are you working to develop or you're planning to develop more of in 2021 as it pertains to your goals. So we have the goals, right? Like, how do you prepare to grow into those goals? Okay, so I'm just waiting for everyone to just go ahead and drop that in there and just let me know. Okay, and so one of the things that I want to talk about, Suzanne, we just had the opportunity in, I think it was October,
Hmm.
to actually do a five-figure launch,
Yeah.
right? And when I tell you, it was so exciting to have the opportunity to work alongside you, to serve alongside you. And I thought about it and I said, this would be such a great conversation to unpack with our superstars. And
Okay.
I'm just going to say this. I know a lot of people, when they hear or they talk about case studies, about launches, and people talk about, the money and everything, people really expect to come to the table like with all of the technical pieces, right? Like, what did you do? What did your sales copy look like? Did you run ads? Did you do all of this stuff, right? Like, they want the juicy, juicy. Like, what did it take, right? And I sat here and I thought about it and I said, you know what? We're going to really give them the juicy, juicy today. So the first thing, and I'm going to tell you, this is probably going to be like unlike any other conversation people have had, like around launches, right? So the first thing that we're going to unpack, today is like, what's the mindset shift that's required, to create power collaborations? Okay, the mindset shift. So, Suzanne, I'll let you go ahead and I'll let you um, share a little bit about the mindset because, after all, you are the mindset mastery mentor. And then I am going to chime in and share like some of the things that I've learned, coming through the launch.
Absolutely, Tria. Well, good morning, everyone. Great to absolutely be here. Collaborations is actually one of my favorite things. I think that we move faster, we grow bigger, we have more fun in the spirit of collaboration. However, for that to occur, there has to be some key things in place. And really and truly, what I've learned is people have to be on the same page in these key areas. So I think that the first one is, as you said, usually when we look for collaborations, we look for, what skills do they have? What can they do? What's the size of their list? Who can they bring? What can they bring to the table? And while that is good, that is not the first thing I look for because I like happy ease. I'm just going to say that again. I like happy ease and I like fun.
I love that.
So the very first thing I look for is, do we have value alignment? And what I mean by value alignment is I am very aware of the key values that guide my life, right? I know the things that are important to me. So, anyone who knows me, integrity is my number one value. And that's people do what they say they're going to do. They clean up their messes because there are going to be messes. They are their word. And they treat people the way they want to be treated. That's my number one. So when I'm looking at collaboration, I'm looking for that value first. I'm also looking for open and honest communication. Someone who can tell me what's on their heart and what's on their mind. Somebody who we can work through issues with, we can talk through things, and there's not withholding of information, there's not withholding of communication. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for someone who's a creative innovator. And that means we are going to find a solution for anything that comes up. There's no, we can't, there's no, I don't know how. There's just how we're going to get it done. So I'm looking for someone, we're on the same page in terms of the value and spirit to which we create, the value and spirit to which we serve our clients, the value and spirit to which we do these things. And this is why, what we come together with a common goal, right? An event, a product, a service.
Yeah.
Now, you and I know from experience that you can get from point A to point B in two very different energies.
Yeah.
One is the energy of that was not fun and I am never doing that again. And the other energy was, oh my goodness, that was a blast. We worked, we got it done. I grew, I learned so much. I can't wait to do that again. I'm only interested in the second one. I run from the first one. So in order for that to happen, Tria, I have to really examine not the skills and the IQ of my person, but I have to manage and check out their EQ. I think the second thing in terms of mindset is I want to collaborate with someone who's a giver's heart, who's got a giver's heart, okay? Because there are people out there that are takers.
Yeah.
And I want to say this so it lands for everybody. There are people out there that are takers. I have collaborated with many takers. Now, I'm not saying takers as in a negative way. I'm just saying that's how they walk through the world. You won't give me something, I'm going to take it and I'm going to keep it moving, right? Then there's people that walk through the world that are natural givers. Giving is just what we do. Tria's a giver. You have to put a stop on Tria's giving every now and then. Go, girlfriend, stop, right? That is just her natural spirit. Now, takers love givers. The taker will say, ooh, giver. and they'll like you because you are willing to serve. But this is the thing that's interesting. It will never dawn on them that they have to give to you because they're takers. And I'm not talking about right or wrong, good or bad. I'm just talking about how people walk through the world.
Yeah.
They're appreciative, right? But they'll take from you with no thought of reciprocity. If you are a taker, you have to be aware of that, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of protecting who you are in space. So I like to collaborate with another giver. Now that's me, right? And if I do collaborate with a taker, it is for a very short-term period of time where I know we're doing this and then I'm out. Because I know that they will use a lot of my energy, for lack of a better word, and then I'll end up resentful. But it's still my responsibility that I put myself in that place. I'm resentful, but it's my fault I'm resentful. I want really this to land because mindset mastery is about personal responsibility, 100% responsibility. So I'm required to know who I am and know who I can collaborate with.
I love that, and so much you just shared with what you said, and I'm just going to go back and I'm going to share a story. And sometimes is like one of those things you say, I wish I had knew back then what I know now, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. The value alignment is key. And I'm going to recall, one particular experience I had going into a collaboration, and it sounded good, on the in the beginning in the conversations, and we were planning on doing this and planning on doing that, and it turned out to be one of the most hurtful experiences that I've ever had, right? And then it left me thinking, like, how do people really do this? Like, and I know this is the question, for a lot of my superstars, because I'm in the conversation all the time. Like, how do we do more together? And I'm a big believer, like, if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, you could go by yourself. But if you
Right.
want to go far, you take others, right? And so it's like, that's like one of the principles, like, I live with. Like, I think about that. Like, I know that I could only get so far, like, on my own. But the question became for me, how am I able to identify those people that I'm able to go far with? And the
Mm-hmm.
piece that I was missing was the value alignment. Okay. And what I had to realize is that I was not present to my own values. And so I love what you did. Like, you came on and you shared your values. You shared the things that are important to me, important to you, integrity, open and honest communication. You like to work with givers, okay? People who have the mindset that they're going to work together to achieve the outcome no matter what it takes to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay? And so, working with you, I've been able, to, like, really get clear on unpack, like, my values, and not only understanding my values, for myself, but being able to communicate those values to others. Okay.
Yeah.
And I love it, because once you have that awareness, and I love that you talked about that, is being able to be present and aware of what you're going into. So once you have the awareness, then there's no false expectation. So then you're able to identify whether it's a short term ordeal, or whether you have found someone that you're going to collaborate with, you're going to partner with, for the long term. And
Right.
it definitely makes such a difference in how you work, together. But most importantly, it shows up so powerfully in how you serve. And so the people who you're called to serve, they could feel the energy. They could feel when something is off
Yeah. Oh yeah.
between two people or a group of people who are coming together to serve. And then sometimes people want to know, like, hey, why isn't this working? Is because the energy is
Yeah.
off. Okay. And then I just want to go in and share, like, also another, big mindset shift for me. that I had to get present with is to get over the I.
Mm.
Okay. And like, oh my gosh, when it comes to, collaboration, the working together, I have to admit, like, there's the ego, right? So I don't know how many of my other superstars out there, kind of feel like your ego kind of popping up, like when you are working together, on projects or whatever the venture is, right? And then you have to fight the I, and it's no longer it's a
Yeah,
we, right?
yeah.
And
You
to
know,
have
if
the
I
we mindset.
if I can jump in there, because I think it's that you're talking about something that's so key, and I think when you come into collaboration, we all have our parts to play,
Mhm.
right? But our parts make up the whole. And I wanted just to go back to when I come from management in social services, so I've managed teams for a number of years. And one of the things I would always say to the team is that um, it's a whole, right? It's a whole, it's a project, it's a whole thing. And so the goal is that we win,
Yeah.
not I win, we win. So when there's a challenge, it's our challenge. When there's a problem, it's our problem. When someone's struggling, it's partly our
Our
struggle,
struggle. You're right.
right? And so what it does is, yes, I have my part to play because I come to the table with skill sets, but I also have my part to play as the whole, and my responsibility is to the whole because that's why we came together. So I think there's that. I think also as leaders of collaborations, if you will, one of the things that's really interesting is this whole concept of 100% responsibility. And I always joke and I say, if it's going great, I'm responsible. And if it's flopping, I'm responsible. And I do walk through the world that way when I'm in collaboration. It's because I don't want to get into it's not my fault. Because as soon as I get into not my fault, it's your fault, we get deadlocks.
Yeah.
Right? But when everybody comes to the table as we have our pieces and our parts to play, but we are going to get this done, then you don't run into those deadlocks that are built in CYA, cover your ass.
Yeah.
So I know I did a live just a little while ago, and I said, when people come to me and they say there's a problem and such isn't doing their thing, I always wonder why you tell me that. That's useless to me, and because I'm only interested in the solution. So don't come in my door with the problem if you haven't brainstormed the solution, particularly with a person who's challenged. Because the minute I put it in that vein, what I'm doing is I'm telling people I'm not interested in the story. I'm not interested in excuses. I'm not interested in the finger pointing. I'm only interested in how we move forward. So figure that out, and then we're good. And that's the work. And so when you create that environment in a collaboration, it really shifts and it creates a level of safety because people also feel like I got your back. And I think I'm as interested in my win as I am in your win. And I think that's the other key thing.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm just reading through some of the comments, Suzanne. And hi, Dr. Tanika. That's my cousin all the way from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for tuning in onto the broadcast this morning. And so one of the things she's mentioning here is that our ego, she said, I would imagine that our egos are necessary in order to stay in alignment with our values. Okay. Yeah, so I think that that's a very, very great takeaway, but is also being able to, understand, number one, know your ego, but also to keep the ego in check. And don't let the ego or let the emotions like overrun everything.
And that is such a great share because we're so conditioned to believe that the ego is this horrible thing, right?
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's you got to squash it, you got to whatever. But I truly believe that my drive comes from that place of my ego. My wanting to be the best comes from that place of my ego. My wanting not to be left behind, comes from the place. My wanting to get it right and look good. Those are all ego-driven things. They are not bad things,
Yeah.
right? They're not bad things. And I think in society we are told we sit in right, wrong, good, bad. What if you sat in that is what is?
Yeah.
Right? We all have an ego. Let's just be real. We all have an ego. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're a product creator, your ego is serving you in terms of let's get this right, let's make it look good. I don't want to go get into the marketplace not looking like tight, right? That's what we want. At the same time, it's an awareness of your ego, right? It's an awareness of this superpower that wants to be like showing up all the time. And mindset is about being having that insight and awareness
Yeah.
and going, is this serving me? Is this how I'm required to show up? Am I required to show up in a different way? And so I mean, I work with people who have very healthy egos. Why? Because they take pride in what they bring to the table. They're driven to be the best. That's who I want to collaborate with. But I also want to collaborate with people who have a beautiful sense of self, a high level of self-worth and self-esteem. Now listen to the words I'm using, because that means that their internal stuff doesn't need to be proven by what they get out there. They already know how brilliant they are. So they've done that work around managing their ego. They don't have to feed it and stroke it, right? They're coming to the table whole and complete. And that's who you want to collaborate with. Now, look at all the stuff we're talking about that has nothing to do with skills.
Yeah. That's why I was so excited to have the conversation, right? Because these are the things that I don't hear enough of in the marketplace. And I love we are talking about ego. And so Forrest has shared ego equals a well-defined I am. So in other words, I must know who I am and know who you are as a person. And there is the power. When your ego appreciates my ego, there is power. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So thank you so much for dropping that in with us, Forrest. Thank you so much. And
Sharia, that is so solid. Like I can't even let us pass on that. So when we're talking about leadership, right? There's 5 phases of leadership. The second one is leader of myself, right? And
mhm,
that is the development of the I am, as Forrest is saying.
yeah,
And the I am has to know I am brilliant, I am talented, I'm special, I'm unique, I am the best, I'm kind of cocky, I am, right? That is the second phase of leadership. The first phase is to just decide that you're going to lead. The second phase is to develop that healthy I am. And this is why, if that I am isn't developed in the most healthy way, you cannot enter into the third phase, which is leading others, leader of others. So what Forrest is saying is I have to be whole and complete as in my self and sense of self before I can actually contribute to others. In other words, I have to love me completely before I get into relatedness, whether it's business, personal, intimate, with another person. And that's the piece. And we're always told to focus out there. But until you focus in here, and you are whole and complete as an entrepreneur, as a wife, as a husband, as a friend, as a sister, as a brother, you're not going to be able to give in a healthy way to any type of collaboration.
I love it. I love it. And it's so true. And so that's the reason why, like sometimes people wonder why things aren't working. And I love that you broke it down. Like the first thing is leader of self, right? And a lot of times we want to skip all the way down to like the third one. Let's lead others.
Right?
And
Moving
then
back to the work. That's the scary work.
you gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. Okay. And so I'm glad I'm watching all of the comments that are popping up. And so this is your opportunity. If you have questions, for Suzanne, in regards to your collaborations, things that you want to level up with in relatedness to that, now is your opportunity to go ahead and drop those questions and comments into the comment section. And so the second question that I'm going to ask is what's the most important thing that you look for in an opportunity. And I think that we started to uncover it with the values. So is there anything else going into an opportunity that you particularly focused on when you're looking to collaborate with someone?
Well, I think the one of the first things is excitement, right? You and I collaborate so easily because we get excited about the same things. We are going in the same direction, right? There is what is important to you is also important to me. So I think one of the first things I look for is, are we on the same page in terms of where we're going? And that is so key. So are we on the same page? Are we excited about the same thing? Are we excited about the same destination? I'm not here to convince you to get excited. I may present something to you and you may say, I don't know, and then get excited. But there has to be a level of excitement, Tria, that is there, right? I think the other thing for me is I don't collaborate with I so let me define this so people get this. I don't collaborate with like-minded people in the sense that we
Mm,
have the same skills, we have the same
that's a good
strengths,
one.
we
Yes.
have the same all that stuff. So in a time where diversity is really the big thing, I love to collaborate with people who bring a lot of difference to the table.
Yeah.
Different skills, different strengths, different superpowers, different intuitive levels of intuition, if you will. I like to collaborate with people who have a difference to me. Where we're aligned is we're going the same place and we're aligned on values and we're aligned on this thing called we're givers, right? So the other thing for me is I'm looking for difference because this is the thing. If I've got a whole bunch of like Suzanne's, then I'm going to get more of me, and that's a problem. There's enough of me at the table with just me. But if I get someone who thinks like Anila, and someone who thinks like Taria, and then someone who thinks like Forrest, and we have the similar values, we're going the same place, and we're all win-win. We're givers. What's gonna happen is that the level of conversation suddenly expands.
Yeah.
The level of brilliance is bigger. The masterminding is really juicy, and the pie must grow, right? But this is the other thing. We're going to have healthy challenge. We're going to have healthy, let's look at it this way. We're going to have that healthy, well, what if we're all right? What do we do with all this wonderful stuff? It allows for an expanded conversation. So for me, one of the key things about collaboration is diversity,
Yeah.
right? Diversity around skill sets, diversity around how we look at things, diversity around creativity, diversity in terms of personality types. I need my type A. I'm gonna get it done. Driver, push, get it through. I'll go have that type conversation. I need the nurturer at the table. We need the person who's analytical because that Suzanne don't like that stuff too much, right? Only to a level. So I need that person. I need that person who's got attention to detail. We want all those things at the table, and we are also charged now with creating a space and a level of respect so people can shine in their area of brilliance.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And what you're talking about is so key, like in this entrepreneurial space, because even just think about it, the things that we have in front of us, the opportunities that we have in front of us as entrepreneurs. So you might have, and one of the things that I'm going to share, I hope you don't mind, one of the things that like definitely attracted, me to you is the way how you do your business, right? And so a lot of times, like we are taught that in order for us to be successful in this space, we have to grow, grow, grow. We have to be bigger. We have to, grow this company. And nothing is wrong with that if that's what you desire, to do. And then what if it's not what you desire to do? What if you have intentionally decided, right, that I do want to have like all the success, that I desire, but I want to keep, my company. I want to keep my business small. Then collaborations is definitely the thing that you should be looking towards and looking at, because like you said, it's not about looking for a clone of Suzanne or a clone of Taria, but as you take a look at your business, and I always go back to who you're called to serve. So as you take a look at the needs, of your clients, who can you collaborate with? Who can you partner with that would allow you to bring the best solutions to the marketplace, right? To your clients or to your audience. And then that way you have the ability to have the business that you truly desire, because not everyone wants to carry the big load, right? And I'm telling you, like, these are the conversations that I don't hear enough of. I'm not saying that there aren't any, but I don't hear too many, people talking about it. So like I said, it's an awareness. Okay. And I think that we have a couple of questions, Suzanne, that's on the floor. And so one of the questions that I saw as you were speaking was, what was that moment of clarity that that you knew who you were or who you are? That moment of clarity that you know who you are.
One of the moments is more the words. I think this is the beauty of it, is that after every event for me that doesn't go well, it's an opportunity to self-reflect. And I think I talk a lot about 100% responsibility, but whenever I go into a situation and it doesn't go well, I have to ask myself, what attracted me to that? Who am I being, and what was I meant to learn? Because I truly believe that God puts me into places and spaces to grow me and expand me. And so oftentimes, how my values came around was when I got divorced. I liked the person I was married to. I couldn't be with the person I was married to, and I really want people to get that. And part of the reason is that we had such polar different values. So we were going the same place, but how we were getting there was polar different in on so many different fronts. So I had to ask myself, well, what is the difference? Well, the difference was values, and the difference was I wasn't clear on my values. So a lot of times I would give in to doing things I didn't want to do, and I would live in this state of not being in alignment, and it would feel horrible. And then I'd be angry at someone, at this person, my ex at the time, for feeling out of alignment, not really realizing that I'm out of alignment. And so my values became clear as I had to do my own healing and searching and understanding about why that was so difficult and why it didn't work. I think when I worked and I had a job, I people kept putting the lid on me, and I don't like doing that. I was like the idea, push the envelope, creativity, let's get going out of the box. And they kept putting the lid on me, and it took me. I was a slow learner. It took me a number of years to realize the reason they were putting the lid on me was because I didn't belong in the box, and I had to jump out of the box. And so I value creativity. I value innovation. I value change. Right. That's why this girl changed careers not careers but positions every 4 years. It was like, what you got for me? Where am I going to learn, grow, change next? So I think part of it is looking at where in your life is there a rub, and not looking at the rub as a bad thing, but looking at the rub as your soul attempting to tell you something about yourself. And usually there's a value alignment. I know that the only time I don't sleep, like I don't sleep through the night, is when I'm out of communication. Right? So there's something I'm holding that I need to say, and it is so heavy in me that I'm not restful, and I will not be restful until it is out of me. And you know that about me. I'm like, Sheree, I got stuff. I got to go talk to this person, right? So if as each of us start looking at when we are disrupted,
Yeah.
right? We feel disrupted. We feel in conflict. It's usually that's the place to look for what is out of alignment, and you'll begin to see the patterns. And when you begin to see the patterns, write them down, right? So I know that commitment is huge for me. It's a value. If I say yes, and I don't say yes easy, I've learned to say a lot of no's, but when I say yes, I'm a yes. I'm not a wishy-washy yes. I'm a yes, ride to die, we're getting it done, it's done. Right? I am a persistent young thing. Right? So don't come to me if you wanna, we're gonna figure this out.
Right.
And so I know who I am in those things because I learned who I am by how I show up and what rubs me wrong, what makes me angry. And I think the thing is, when I get to those places, I don't look to blame you. I look to ask myself, what is it about this that has me disrupted? And that's how I've learned, figured them out. I hope that answers the question.
Oh, yes, it does. And I'm just sitting here listening, and I was just like, yes, is that sense of awareness that makes it such a pleasure and a joy, like to work alongside you, right? Because like you said, it's not about challenges not coming up, but like you don't have to worry like this person is gonna bail on you, right? Or this person is going to half step, through the process. They're in, right? Because commitment is something that they value. Open and honest communication is something that they value. So you will never have to worry about, am I doing this? Is this, and these are the things, like I said, over the years, I've been in, opportunities, I've had conversations, and these are the things that like we really struggle with, like on the journey. Okay. And so I have another question out there from Dr. Tanika, and she says, how do we navigate personalities that drain the energy and knowledge base of others in collaborative scenarios and offer nothing of substance to the equation in return?
So this is a bigger question. Why are you in collaboration with that person? Because there's already that value misalignment, right? There's already when someone shows up as a drain to me, it's often that they're not contributing, right? I work with people who contribute, and they don't have to contribute the same level I do. I just know what their contribution is. I think the other part is I have to ask myself, why did I choose to collaboration? So sometimes I choose to collaborate out of fear. In other words, they bring something else to the table. So how many of you have worked with a person who's brilliant, but with brilliance comes a personality, like it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, whatever that, it's Jekyll and Hyde, right? It is, they're happy today, like crazy tomorrow. You're like, who's showing up? But they're so brilliant that you're willing to overlook brilliant, the crazy for the brilliance, the talent. Those are the signs that you want to start looking at. What is it that they're bringing to the table that is so valuable to you that you're willing to overlook all these other things? And is it worth it? I have just decided it is not worth it. So I will not collaborate. It doesn't matter how brilliant you are. If it doesn't occur with ease, we're not doing it. So because the cost is too high to everybody involved. So I think is the first thing is to ask yourself, what motivated me to be in this collaboration? And what value is out of alignment? Now, when you're talking about someone who complains and drains and all those things, another value, and you guys are going to get mine today, 100% responsibility. I don't work with, I like people who take full responsibility. Tree and I, we're always like, yeah, let's get it done. There's never like whose fault. And sometimes we're doing each other's stuff because we can, right? Because I'm not gonna let my girl fall. If she needs me to show up and do something, I'm going to make sure she shines. She's going to make sure I shine. So we're in that. Like, we got Cindy in there. We got Anila in there. We've got, all these players that are partnering with us. They're not running in their lane going, this is my lane. It's not anyone else's lane. Too bad for you. We're in there. So I think it is really, when you look at your values, there's some stuff out of alignment that you're tolerating. That's why the drain.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. And what you said is like so powerful, because that's one of the things that I've started to like be more aware and look for, in my collaborative space, okay? Is the people who aren't willing, to let others fall, okay? The initiative, right? Because and I know I have some superstars, who will proudly tell you that they've never worked a 9 to 5 a day in their life, right?
Mhm.
But most of my superstars have transitioned, from the 9 to 5, work life, and they into this journey of entrepreneurship. And, just like me, I've learned like almost everything that I learned, on a 9 to 5 is like backwards, wrong way. That's not how you do it, right? And so it's that thing, like how do you once again become present and aware to these things, where everything that, like, in an environment says me self, right? Like your coworkers, the people that you sit next to, every day. Imagine that you go to work and you sit next to people for like 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and internally you look at those people as your competition, right? Because you know what, that could be the person that takes my job, or this. So yeah, if they're struggling, why would I give them the edge up, right? And so it's
Mhm.
unlearning of all of that, because that don't work like that in this space, honey. Right? So
What's interesting is it doesn't work in any space, and
mm,
that's actually the learn, right? And we have it backwards because we're taught it backwards. So as I said, I management for 10 years before I decided to manage myself and become an entrepreneur, right? But this is the interesting thing was I learned very early in my management and in my career that if I made people look good, I became very valuable,
mm,
right? So the more I was willing to serve and not toot my horn, the better, more value I brought to the table. So when I looked at leadership, when I managed my teams, my sole thought was to make myself no longer needed. Now that sounds counterintuitive. I was going to make the people that I supervise and collaborate my team so fantastic that they could do my job and I was no longer needed. Now people would go, why did you do that? Well, what ended up happening was they moved me all over that organization. And every time they moved me, they gave me a raise because I was valuable. If I just held on to the little piece of real estate that I had and said, I'm going to do this the best, I'm not of contribution.
yeah,
Growth is when you become of contribution. We are conditioned to have a scarcity mindset. There's not enough,
yeah,
right? There is more than enough. And can you show up as more than enough? Can you show up in the belief in abundance, in the belief in possibility, in the belief in contribution, in the belief that when someone else is shining, it doesn't take your light out? When I knew that when the leaders on my team shine, uh, everybody knew that behind the scenes there was this girl, right? People knew that. They didn't have to come tell me. They knew that. And part of it because they saw the transformation that occurred in my team as I created the environment for people to shine, using Taria's words, for people to show up and feel amazing. The other thing it created was loyalty,
yeah,
right? When you make other people shine, let me tell you, they will walk on all coals for you. And people will be like, how did you get them to do that? I'd be like, they're amazing.
yeah,
I see their brilliance. I see how talented they are. My job is to go mining for greatness. That's what a leader does.
I
It's their
love
own
it.
responsibility.
For greatness. I love it. I love it. Okay. And I think we have another question out there from Maria. And Maria is asking, how do you know when in your venture to collaborate? So on this journey, how do you know when is the opportunity for you to collaborate with others? Thank you for the question, Maria.
Maria, that's a money question. That's a great question. And it's a great question. Trina and I were actually having this conversation a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you know when it's a great time to collaborate? I think what's really interesting is people seem to want to get to know each other when it's time to collaborate. And I really want everyone to hear that. That's when you say, "Ooh, such and such would be great for my project. Let me go collaborate." I believe that the best time to collaborate is when you know the person, if you've taken the time to get to know the person. So Tari and I, just when we're looking at our collaboration, we worked with each other. In other words, I was her client, she was my client. We were on a joint project together, right? We're part of Audacious Faith together. We got to know each other before collaboration was put on the table. We got to see each other. We got to know each other. We got to break bread. We got to hang out. I actually thought, I like this woman, right? I can hang out with this woman. I liked her values. I liked the fact that she served. I got to know her as a person before I decided to do business in a collaboration with her. I was her client, so I knew her commitment to having me win. So I think part of it for me, and this is the world according to Suzanne, is for me, I collaborate with people I have a knowing them, right? I have a relationship with. I have a collaboration with Cleve Does More. I've known Cleve for 3 years. We hang out. We break bread. I stayed at his house. He stayed at my house. I'm in the middle of talking about a collaboration with Kai, right? The serial innovator, and same thing. Known him for a while. We've been 3 years. Know his wife. Know his family. I like these people. And listen to me, right? In a collaboration with Anila. Anila's on the line right now. We're in the middle of writing. My girl, brilliant. That's all I gotta say. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Every time I get online, I tell everybody about it. Girl's brilliant. My walking encyclopedia library. That's all I gotta say. But this is the thing. I like her values. I like her commitment. I like her humility. I like the way she is committed to me winning. And even if she's in the background and no one knows it was her, right? I've gotten to know these people. So there's a moment in the knowing that you go, oh, we need to collaborate. We really do. We need to collaborate. And there's value alignment. It's like your mind syncs. So take your time. Because trust me, collaborations are kind of like long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just meet someone on the corner and say, "Do you want to collaborate?" Even if someone hooks you up and puts you on a blind date, you're just like, we don't move in together. A collaboration's the same sort of thing. Date for a while, court each other, learn about each other, and you'll be like, "Ooh, no, what you showed up as at the beginning. Now that I know you, we can't be doing that." Or you'll be like, I love this person. This is a saint.
Yeah. And I think that that's what it is. Like when you can really sit back, and take a look, and really be present, be mindful of it, of the people who you want to have in your space and the people that you want to grow with. And like you mentioned Anila, and it was one of those things, like I just sat here and I think back like to the very first time 2 years ago when I met Anila, and I didn't know much, about her. She's okay, she's really nice. Okay. And then we had the opportunity. Has it been a few months? Yep, probably been about what, 8 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
To really sit down, and have, a really wonderful conversation. I'll never forget that conversation over a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
that just birthed it into something so amazing and so beautiful. And like when I reflect back on the conversation, like what was in my heart is like, oh my gosh, right? Like I really want to work with her,
Yeah.
right? I really want to work with her. And here we are, like 8 months later, right? And it's the energy and the effort to cultivate the relationship. And so let me just say that the energy and the effort to cultivate the relationship. And a lot of times people like want to move fast. They want to put the cart before the horse and, to see the dollars, to see the money, and it's out there. Yes, let's go get it. But like, really, do you have, are you taking a look at the foundation, the building
Hmm.
blocks, per se? And when you have those things in place, then it's beautiful. And I love what you shared before about the grace and ease, because that's a decision that I've made like in my life, right? Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to grind. So for all of you entrepreneurs out there who are like on the grind, stop.
Yeah.
It's not good. Okay,
Great news.
grinding is good, right? So it's grace and ease, you
And
know.
just to really be clear about this, we're not talking about not working hard.
Mhm.
We work hard. It is the energy to which you work that
Right.
we're talking about. Um, when you do hard work in grace and ease, it is fun. When you do hard work and you're grinding, you're drained and exhausted at the end. I want to do hard work and end up energized, end up excited, end up like what's next. And so when I sit down with Taria, when I sit down with Anila, when I sit down with some various people that I collaborate with, the conversations are like this, and time flies
Yes. Oh my God.
because we're in this grace and ease. And I think the other part is that there's a depth to our relationships,
Mhm.
and the depth goes beyond the business. I think that's what part of the other thing in terms of how do you know it's a great time to collaborate is that there's a level of depth to the relationship. And not that we see each other every day. I mean, these are phone relationships majority of the time, even before the pandemic, because we live in all different corners of the world, or the continent, I should say, right? So it's not that we see each other all the time, but there's a depth that's been developed
Yeah.
in the relationship.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Okay. And I see that we have another comment out here. And Forrest is sharing that that's the result of conflict in values. Okay. So when you don't know what's important to you, obviously it's not important to them. So cut them loose. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one of the things like we started out far as talking about, like that's one of the things that I had to learn. Like I had to get present, to my values and define my values. Okay, so I couldn't expect anyone, to hold my values or know what my values are when I didn't take the
Mhm.
time to define them for myself. And the moment that I got clear and was able, to define them, communicate them, like everything changed. Okay, because now I'm in awareness. Okay, so great, great, great. Thank you. And Tanika is out there saying great information, ladies. So yeah, this is really, really, really great. So I want to take a minute because I did promise that I have a special announcement coming up. And this is what we're talking about, Suzanne. Like when we get together, like the time just literally flies by. Okay. It just like goes by so fast. But I don't want to forget that in the spirit of collaboration, okay, and letting people know what we got going on,
Mhm.
like we are getting ready to host our series of webinars that are coming up on December 1st, December 7th, and December 12th. And it's the 3 myth busting truths about social media. Okay, so 3 myth busting truths about social media, how to move past your promotions and show up with your value, focus on your value, your influence, and your impact. And if you are enjoying this conversation, then definitely you are going to want to join us, on the webinar, because like I said, I've been in this space, I've seen a lot of things, and, some things rest on my heart very heavily. And it's time for us to have, this conversation, around social media and what we should be looking forward to doing moving forward, because we are all influencers, okay, and we're all thought leaders, okay. So where should our focus be when we are on social media? So I know a lot of people out there, I hear it every single day. People ask me, this isn't working, what do I need to do to make it work? And I'm going to share with you, it's not the tools, it's not the gadgets, it's not the gadgets. I had to get present, to that myself, right? And so we are going to be unpacking that in our webinar. So if you have not had the opportunity to register for the webinar as yet, I think I just put it on the screen. There's the link. Make sure you go ahead and reserve your seat for the webinar. Now, I'm just going to say this. Superstars, I know you guys are accustomed, the guys and ladies, you're all accustomed of me doing a lot of things, on Facebook Live. This will not be a Facebook Live. Okay. So if you want to be present on the conversation, you have to register. Okay. Make sure you grab your seat, register. And the link is also in the description, of the description of the video. So make sure you go ahead and reserve your seat. Okay. So the first one kicks off on Tuesday, December 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you who thought that we forgot, we have not forgotten that it's Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday is coming up, and I do believe that is Thankful Tuesday, correct? So we have some beautiful bonuses that are included for those of you who register early. Okay, so one of the first things that you want to do, because the bonuses will go away, I've extended them, Suzanne, they will go away tomorrow night at 12 midnight. Okay, so one of the first things that we are offering as a bonus is a coupon for our Unleash the Power of Your Story training that's coming up in January. So if you missed us on the Unleash the Power of Your Story training in October and you have it and you said, hey, I missed it and I want to do it, like we are doing it again in January, and just for this weekend only, we are offering a special coupon, but you have to register for the webinar in order to get it. Okay, and then also we are also offering as a bonus what's your bonus? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It slipped me. The book study.
Leading character book study.
Yes, leading with character book study. Okay, so if you once again have always wanted to have the opportunity to attend the leading with character book study with Suzanne and you missed it, we are offering it as a bonus inside of the webinar as well. Okay, and then of course I'm including another special bonus in there for those of you who register. You will get access to my client attraction method training as well. Okay, so those are some pretty awesome bonuses. Okay, and so if you had to, pay for those bonuses, it's well over $3,000, and we're offering these bonuses for you if you register for the webinar before Sunday, which is tomorrow at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so make sure that you have the opportunity to do that. Okay, and so Suzanne, before we close out and we wrap it up, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience this morning, our superstars this morning?
I wanted to just go back to the webinar in and of itself, and I want to connect this conversation to the webinar. And so we've been talking about values, we've been talking about collaborations, we've been talking about you know, coming to things with win-win, coming to things with an abundant heart, coming to things with ease and grace, right? And so we're talking about collaborations, we're talking about joint ventures, but I want to also talk about clients for a moment, right? Because there are clients that you want to say yes to, and there are clients that you're like, oh no, you're not my people. Go knock on someone else's door. Totally good, right? Totally cool.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do those clients find you?
Yeah.
Right? How do they seek you out? Well, they seek you out with what you put into the marketplace. So one of the things and one of the reasons I love working with Tria is I think she's a brilliant strategist. And so this webinar is not about the gadgets and gadgets. This webinar is about the strategies that you want to put into the marketplace that have you show up as your authentic self. So when so that you attract your divine client, you attract the person you are called to serve, you attract the person who is actually looking for you because they know who they're looking for. How do you put that out in the marketplace on social media and have it show up in your energy, in your words, in all the things you do, in what you craft and you put into the marketplace? And so I really wanted to make that alignment because it's so key, because collaboration doesn't just start with when I meet you. Collaboration starts with you saying, this is who I am, and I'm looking for someone who's in alignment around those values. That's who I want to collaborate with. That's who my clients are. That's who my business partners and collaborators are. And so this is truly, we talk about demographics, right? We talk about psychographics, right? This is different, right? I like to say this is your energetics. This is your branding around your energy, your life experience, your beliefs, your values. And it's only done and found in a certain way. And what we're going to talk to you about is how you put that into the marketplace.
Yeah. And you know what, I'm so excited for it because this is one of the things that I had to get present to, right? There's such a huge difference in going out there and finding your clients versus attracting your clients. And I mean, just saying it just feels totally different, right? So, what is required for you to show up in that way? And then, I like to talk about shine, right? And I'm packing this. I'm not going to give it all away on here today. You got to register for it, right? But it's that thing, right? So you got to shine, and I'm going to break down the biblical principle behind of it, right? So you got to let your light shine, and why it's so important for you to let your light shine. So once again, I think someone shared with me that the link that's in the description, I'll change the link in the description when I get off, but in the comment section, I just dropped the new link. So you should be able to register and get access to it. Okay. And then also superstars, if you know of anyone else that, needs this information, okay, entrepreneur out there who is looking to grow their business, and we're all in conversation about social media, right? Please go ahead, feel free, to share the link to the webinar with them as well. Okay. And so, Suzanne, I'd like to thank you once again for another amazing conversation. Like, I am so looking forward to 2021 because talking about commitments, we've made a commitment to do of these together, right?
So we got some stuff. We got some conversations coming that.
Yeah, so I'm really super excited, for what we have coming up. Okay. And so once again, my superstars, thank you so much for tuning in and joining another amazing, I thought it was amazing, episode of Social Media Saturdays. And if this is your first time joining us, okay, make sure that you head on over to our Facebook business page. Make sure you like the page and turn on your notifications. So every time time we go live, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will get your notification. Okay. And then we can also follow us on Instagram. So we are on Instagram. So watch SMS Live on Instagram. We can be found on Twitter. At Social Media Saturdays on Twitter. We are on YouTube. So all of our videos are on YouTube as well. Okay. So you could follow us at Social Media Saturdays on YouTube. And then if you are on LinkedIn, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay. And so, Maria, I have something for you, my love. And I am going to reach out to you after we end the broadcast. So, Maria, I'll be reaching out to you either via text or I'll give you a call because I have something for you. Okay. All right. And I have to read this comment. It says, when two tuning forks are tuned in with one another, this will happen. When you stroke the first fork, it's in tune with the second. The second fork, without being struck, will start vibrating in sync with the first. Like values are like that. You will resonate together. So thank you so much for dropping that in there for us this morning. Forrest, thank you so much for that. And great morning, Barbara. Great morning, Nisi. Thank you so much for jumping on and joining. And I see that Mike is out there. Great morning, Mike. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us as well. Okay. And so, with that being said, my superstars, the comments are just coming in, right?
I know, ready.
So with that being said, hi Lindsay. We are going to end it out, for today. If you are just tuning in to us, if you are not a member, I almost forgot the most important thing. So if you are not a member of our Social Media Saturdays community, you want to head on over to our Facebook group. All of our videos are inside of the Facebook group as well. So if you ever miss a video and you want to catch them, make sure you go over to Social Media Saturdays, helping you to serve, share, and shine. Knock on the door. We'll go ahead and we'll let you in. Okay. And then you could catch the replay. All right. And with that being said, all right, guys, take care, my superstars. Until next time, see you guys on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye.